The desert heat of New Mexico was a furnace, yet inside the windowless, heavily guarded laboratory, the air was chilled to surgical precision. It was late 1944. On a drafting table, protected by multiple layers of security classifications higher than the invasion plans for Europe, lay a diagram. It wasn't a blueprint for a tank or a new fighter plane. It was something far smaller, yet infinitely more powerful. It was the schematic for the apocalypse. A man, slight of build with thick glasses and a meticulously tidy mind, leaned over the paper. His name was Dr. Emil Klaus Fuchs. To the most brilliant minds assembled in this secret city, Los Alamos, he was a peer, a brilliant German-born theoretical physicist working directly on the implosion mechanism for the plutonium bomb. He was trusted implicitly, privy to the deepest secrets of the Manhattan Project. But as his pencil traced the delicate curve of a high explosive lens needed to compress a plutonium core to critical mass, his mind was elsewhere. He wasn't thinking of victory over the Nazis, or even the scientific achievement before him. He was calculating the best way to copy the diagram, commit the complex equations to memory, and pass it all to the agent waiting 1,000 miles away. Klaus Fuchs was a spy, and the information he was about to steal would rob America of its sole superpower status, trigger a decades-long nuclear arms race, and irrevocably change the course of the 20th century. This is the astonishing true story of the greatest scientific espionage coup in history.
The story does not begin in the barren landscapes of America, but in the intellectual ferment and political turmoil of Germany. Klaus Fuchs was a man defined by radical conviction. Born in 1911, the son of a deeply religious and outspoken Lutheran pastor, Fuchs' youth was a rapid education in the instability of the Weimar Republic. He was an intense, serious student, drawn to physics, but his true passion was politics. The rise of the Nazi Party horrified him. By 1932, a year before Hitler seized power, Fuchs was a committed, card-carrying member of the German Communist Party. When the Gestapo came for him in 1933, he fled, escaping first to Paris and then, critically, to Bristol, England. He arrived penniless, but with a keen mind that quickly earned him a place at Bristol University and later at the University of Edinburgh, studying under the Nobel laureate Max Born. It was in Britain that Fuchs cemented his reputation as a theoretical physicist of the first rank. But his political beliefs, the conviction that capitalism was inherently destructive and that only communism offered a true path to global equality, never wavered. He saw the Soviet Union, despite its internal brutalities, as the only true bulwark against global fascism. In 1940, with the war underway, a sudden wave of paranoia swept Britain. All German nationals, regardless of their anti-Nazi credentials, were classified as enemy aliens. Fuchs was arrested and interned in a camp in Quebec, Canada. This forced isolation, ironically, proved to be his ultimate test of loyalty. Confined with hundreds of others, his political convictions hardened. When he was finally released and returned to Edinburgh, he immediately reached out to his pre-war communist contacts. The groundwork for his future double life was laid. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic and the English Channel, the scientific community was gripped by a terrifying realization. It might be possible to create a weapon of unprecedented destructive force using nuclear fission. In Britain, this nascent project was codenamed Tube Alloys. Its key figures recognized the brilliance of the now trusted Dr. Fuchs. His expertise in gaseous diffusion, a critical process for separating the rare uranium-235 isotope from the more common uranium-238, made him indispensable. Fuchs was transferred to Birmingham and began working with Rudolf Peers, another émigré physicist. Here he was given access to highly sensitive data. The project was moving fast, but it was dwarfed by the industrial might beginning to mobilize in the United States. In 1943, under the terms of the Quebec Agreement, it was decided that the British scientific effort would be integrated into the colossal American project, the now renamed Manhattan Project. This was the opportunity Fuchs had been waiting for. His first contact in espionage was a woman codenamed Sonia, though her real name was Ursula Kuczynski. She was a dedicated German-Jewish communist and a highly sophisticated, seasoned spy for the Soviet Union's military intelligence, GRU. Fuchs met her under the guise of an innocuous weekend outing in the English countryside. The handoff was simple. Fuchs provided her with detailed reports on the methods for separating isotopes and initial calculations on the required critical mass. His justification was clear and terrifyingly logical. A single nation, even an ally like the United States, must not possess a monopoly on such power. The balance of the post-war world required that the USSR, the nation sacrificing the most men against the Nazis, must also have the knowledge. This intellectual and political conviction made him impervious to the conventional fears of capture or betrayal. He was not stealing for money or personal gain. He was stealing for what he genuinely believed was global stability. Arrival at the Secret City, 1944. In late 1943, Klaus Fuchs boarded a troop ship bound for New York, officially joining the British mission to the Manhattan Project. He was one of a select few foreign nationals granted unrestricted access to the project's most sensitive location, Site Y, the vast purpose-built scientific laboratory nestled on the mesa tops of Los Alamos, New Mexico. Los Alamos was a world unto itself, a true scientific monastery. Led by the enigmatic and intensely brilliant J.R. Robert Oppenheimer, the community was a surreal collection of Nobel laureates, engineers, and military personnel living in hastily constructed housing, their children playing in the shadow of the ultimate weapon. Fuchs quickly integrated. He was assigned to the Theoretical Division, T Division, arguably the most intellectually demanding and secret group on the Hill. His direct supervisor was the legendary Hans Bethe. Fuchs worked on the mathematical models for the implosion lens concept, the fiendishly difficult task of compressing a softball-sized sphere of plutonium evenly and instantaneously to trigger a nuclear explosion. This was the single biggest technical hurdle the project faced, and Fuchs was right in the middle of solving it. His colleagues found him quiet, polite, and reserved, the perfect model of the dedicated, apolitical scientist. Klaus was a very quiet, hard-working person, Hans Bethe would later testify. He did not talk about anything except physics. This professional discretion was the perfect cover for his secret life. He spent his days immersed in the deepest secrets of the universe, and his evenings memorizing the technical specifications of the weapon that would incinerate cities. The mechanism of espionage at Los Alamos was audacious in its simplicity. Fuchs would take advantage of the relaxed, almost collegiate atmosphere among the scientists. Diagrams and reports were handled daily. Fuchs would simply carry the most critical documents, often on the implosion scheme for the Fat Man bomb, from his office to his barracks, memorize the key data points, and then pass this information off the hill. The most critical intelligence was often contained in the mathematical constants and geometric designs, which he possessed a photographic memory for. His new American contact was Harry Gold, a Russian-born industrial chemist and a highly effective courier for the Soviet Union's military intelligence, codenamed Raymond. Their first meeting was set for a cold and windy day in New York City near a bridge over the East River. The moment of handoff, a nondescript package of scientific notes for a small sum of cash, was the moment the United States lost its atomic monopoly. The clock was ticking. The scientific race was almost over, and the intelligence war was just beginning. The true shock of what Fuchs accomplished would not be felt until years later, when the mushroom cloud rose over another nation, far sooner than America could have ever imagined.